Hey guys, how are you? Stef here. So, this is a video shot with about a $1,200 camera, Canon 80D, with a pretty decent lens. And I just wanted to show you what this looks like. And we're going to compare this, it's about $1,200 US camera versus my $7,500 cinema camera, so that you can see the difference and see if it's worth it to you just in terms of picture quality. And then I'll give you my thoughts afterwards. Now, if you're asking yourself, Stef, this is a coding and business channel. Why are you talking about cameras, you silly nerd? Well, one of the things I do is try to demonstrate universal principles that you'll see in many different fields and many different disciplines. That's why I bring up the boxing, the martial arts, the business, the coding, and now the cameras, so that you understand some of these universal principles, and it's going to help you with your coding career, your business career, your freelance career, just getting a job, etc. And of course, in this case, cameras, so you can help decide and consider diminishing returns in things that you buy and see if, well, anyway, we'll continue from here. Let me get my cinema camera out and then we'll see how that looks. So now I'm recording at the same time with the same lighting with a very expensive camera. Now this is the one I was using just before. It's a $1,200 camera, Canon 80D. Works good. And now I'm recording this video with a $7,500 camera. I would say that the video quality optimally is 25% better, depending on your eye. Some people might say it's a much better. Here's the problem. I'm an intermediate level camera operator, so even with DSLRs, when it comes to high-end cinema cameras, I'm just a beginner. So you'll see in the last 50, 100 videos or so, where I've been doing the majority of them with this camera here, the big cinema camera, I simply have been learning the game. I've been learning how to use the camera properly. So you see sometimes the image is super sharp, sometimes it's a little overexposed, sometimes you see a blue sheen because I'm not balancing the white balance properly, etc., etc. I've been learning how to use it. With the great power of this camera, there's a lot of details you have to understand. So I've been learning that, and it's as much my hobby as anything else. Why am I doing this? Well, I want you to understand, in business and in code, in life, there's sometimes something called a law of diminishing returns. What does that mean? That means sometimes as you spend more and more money on something with the expectation of increased quality, how much more quality you'll get really diminishes. So let me just say, let's say this camera here, which is 7,500 versus 1,200, this camera might be image-wise 25% better, 30% better, depending on the circumstances, but it's, of course, multiples the cost of this camera. The advantage of this camera, though, is that it has all kinds of capabilities around it. It really makes it easy in terms of workflow. Remember I talked about that in software development? I talked about that in business. One of the values of a good business is that it has really good workflows. And now workflow is a flow of work, and it's basically a way that you do your daily activities of the business to maximize your productivity, which means profits at the end of the process. In software workflows, software workflows plays a big role in terms of the efficiency of how you write and deploy your apps. I talk about that in terms of freelancing, right? Where one of the things that freelancers have to do is have to develop some good workflows to maximize their time. You can do this through just good old-fashioned business processes, coding processes, by having a strict structure in terms of how you write your code, leveraging frameworks and libraries, etc., etc., etc. So this camera here, because it's a pro camera, it makes the workflows easier. So for example, if I want to set something called a white balance on this camera, I just press a button that's on the side, bing, bang, it's done, Bob's your uncle. This is more difficult. I have to go into a submenu, boom, boom, boom. It's 2-3 steps versus 1 step. And there's many examples of that where this professional camera just smooths out the workflow. Now, how much faster will it make you? Maybe it will make you 20% faster. Maybe it'll make you 10% faster. Maybe it'll make you 50% faster, depending on circumstances. Now, if you're just a solo vlogger, a hobbyist, it doesn't make too much of a difference. But if you're on a budget where you have a crew, you're a film crew, and you're paying lots of money per hour, to save 10% could save you a lot of money. So I was talking to a friend of mine who manages some of the biggest commercial projects in Montreal. He's a location manager. And he tells me, he says, you got budgets where they're spending, $500,000. If they can save 10% and save 50 grand, or even save 5% and save 25 grand on a shoot because they're using a cinema camera that has all these tools to speed up the workflow, then it's worth it to them, right? So I bought this camera because I wanted to improve the quality of my video. I wanted less headaches in terms of me producing my videos. I didn't want to have to tinker around with this, that, and the other thing. And so it just makes it more pleasant, especially since I'm doing almost daily videos. Now what I plan to do, and it's going to take time because I'm developing my skills, I plan to up the quality, not just the frequency, but the quality. So I may reduce the number of videos I put out per week, but I'm hoping to increase the quality of the videos. And that's pretty much it. This was meant to be a short vlog, but that's why I don't have my lapel mic. I have my overhead mic, so you might be hearing me from the other side of the room. At least you're going to get that sound. So yeah, what to take away? I think you can see how using cameras and shooting videos, how it relates to business, how it relates to software development in terms of workflows, in terms of diminishing returns. This channel is much more than just about code. It's about code, business, and that's why I relate to different areas out there. I relate to martial arts, I relate to boxing, I relate to business, I relate to coding, I relate to cameras now, to help you to understand some universal principles that will serve you really well, whether you become a software developer, whether you start a business, whether you get into freelancing, and of course, in this situation, whether you decide to buy cameras. All right, we'll talk soon. That was the screen, that was for the thumbnail.